Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you for clicking on another video. Hope you're having a wonderful time. Today, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to be recapping on something that is kind of close to my heart, and that is the world of professional wrestling. I'm going to be going through the results of Summerslam that happened last night. I got to watch it this morning after being very unwell on Saturday, so I watched it all this morning and stuff like that, and overall, I found it was a very good show. So I'm just going to go through the matches and stuff like that, give my opinions and stuff on them, some of the stuff that happened. We've got some big returns and stuff like that, some big pop moments as well, so yeah, let's go through it. So we'll start with a kickoff match, which I didn't bother watching. Big E, Baron Corbin and stuff like that. This whole storyline between the two of them is kind of just nonsensical, kind of boring and stuff like that. Big E needs to be pushed to the moon just because he has the Money in the Bank briefcase. The fact that he's not is kind of frustrating to me, so not really fussed about that. We kick off the actual show with AJ Styles and Omos versus RK Bro for the Raw Tag Team titles. I thought this was a really fun match, to be fair. All four got to put in a lot of offense. Omos does look like he's getting better and better. I know people will probably think, oh, he's just some nonsensical big tall guy and everything. He just has tall guy moves, but you can tell that they've got a lot of faith in this lad and stuff like that. And the fact that they've paired him with all people AJ Styles is absolutely brilliant. The fact that Orton and Riddle won, I had it predicted that they would win and stuff like that. Brilliant reaction when they won and stuff like that. Very good match overall. I'm excited to see what they do with this. We know eventually it's going to end with a Randy turn. We all know that. But for the time being, while we've got face Randy, let's just go for it and stuff like that. Alexa Bliss and Eva Marie was not a match that needed to be on the main show. I'm sorry. It could have easily been a kickoff show. It was short. It was kind of pointless throughout the whole thing and stuff like that. The whole thing with the doll and stuff like that with Alexa and stuff like that. It just looked really weird and stuff like that. It doesn't fit me. But like I said, it could have easily been a kickoff show match. No one would have complained and stuff like that. But they've advertised on the main show. Like, for me, it was just their match and stuff like that. It was one you could easily just skip through. Simple as that. Sheamus versus Damian Priest was actually not a bad match between the two of them. Some scary points when Priest did his jump over the top rope. He didn't hit it properly and stuff like that, and it did look like he got hurt from that. But I think the overall flow of the match and everything went pretty well, to be fair. Sheamus losing and stuff like that, obviously with the whole face mask issue and stuff like that. Pretty cool and stuff like that. I did have Damian Priest to win and stuff like that. I'm a big fan of him. Hopefully they can now push him and just give him a proper mid-card spot and stuff like that. He is a hell of a talent and stuff like that. He hasn't really been utilised properly since Mania and stuff like that. So we'll have to see where we go from in that. We then move on to the SmackDown Tag Team Championships, the Usos versus the Mysterios, and a lot of people were very worried with this match, knowing because there was been a lot of talk in the sort of the dirt sheets and stuff like that. Eventually, Dominic will turn on his father and stuff like that, and I don't think I'm emotionally ready for that day and stuff like that. They work really well as a tag team and stuff like that. Obviously, having a father-son tag team is very rare in WWE, rare in wrestling at the moment, but these guys have got fantastic chemistry with the Usos and stuff like that. The match was really, really solid. The Usos winning, you keep alive the Bloodline storyline and stuff like that. They're a brilliant tag team and stuff like that. Deserved team got the win and stuff like that. Some really good moments and stuff like that. The hot tags and stuff were just excellent. Really, really good match for me. The little homages to Eddie and stuff like that, and that Dominic is using and stuff like that is, that's really awesome to see. We then move on to the SmackDown Women's Championship debacle. You had Bianca come out, and side note on this, I'm never a fan when the champion comes out first. Normally it's a bad omen. I would prefer the tag team the champions to come out last and everything, but that's just a personal preference for me. But we were obviously introduced with the fact that Sasha Banks wasn't going to be there, which we had known for a couple of days that might be the possibility. And then Carmella came out to absolutely the most horrific silence I've ever heard in a professional wrestling environment. It was horrible. And the moment the match sort of begun and everything, the fans just booed out of their head, and I'm thinking this is going to go down badly. And then the man turns up, Becky Lynch is back in the WWE. We had a feeling she'd come back to SmackDown because obviously her hubby-to-be, or hubby now, Sethy Boy, is on SmackDown. So we had that. I was very disappointed in this. The whole thing went for about 10-15 minutes, and we got a 20-second match. And I tell you what, I think even the fans were kind of pissed that this only went so shortly. You know, I mean, don't get me wrong, this is going to build to a match probably at Extreme Rules between Bianca and Sasha. Potentially doing a Becky, Sasha, and Bianca. Even if it's just Becky and Bianca, I wouldn't be a fuss with that. But the fact that this was such a short, that it was so bad. It really was. You know, Belair has been so good since WrestleMania and stuff like that. She's held her own and stuff like that. She's been in some pretty good matches. She needed this moment and stuff like that. Yeah, for a 20-second title switch over to give it to Becky, I wasn't a fan of and stuff like that. I hope they move forward and I hope they do something well with the story, but we'll have to wait and see. Overall, I thought this was really poorly done by them. Drew McIntyre versus Jinder Mahal. Again, not a match that really needs to be on the main card and everything. Drew's credibility, in my opinion, has gone down since losing to Bobby Lashley. He's been thrown in a feud with Jinder Mahal, which, I don't know. I mean, I know it's old 3MB stuff, but what does it do for him, you know? If Drew's not going for the world title, Drew should be in the mid-card picture looking at like the US title and stuff like that. I would pay to see Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest for a feud, absolutely. I mean, neither of them are heels, so that wouldn't really work. But it didn't need to be on the main card and everything. You know, Drew had a better reaction to last night than he did at Mania against Bobby, because against Bobby at WrestleMania, he had a very off reaction. Here, he was very well cheered and stuff like that by the fans, stuff like that. So that was good to see. But yeah, I hope they do more with Drew and everything. He was one of two people that led the company through the pandemic era, and the fact that he's being treated like this now the fans are back is pretty poor in my opinion, but that's just me. The Raw Women's Championship match was actually very good. I'm not a fan of Nikki ASH. I think, you know, her Nikki Cross character was perfect and stuff like that, but obviously they'd never utilised her properly. Adding in Charlotte and Rhea into a match and everything is never going to be a bad thing and stuff like that. Both of these women are absolutely phenomenal. You know, they all got to put their offense in and stuff like that. You know, the fans would pop a little bit when Nikki got to do some bits. The corkscrew moonsault off the top from Charlotte was a thing of beauty, to be fair, and stuff like that. I mean, Nikki went hard into the barricade for it. But, I mean, Flair won again. I mean, what it does do is it does keep Rhea strong, because obviously she wasn't the one in the final pin. A lot of the fans were not happy. But, you know, she is the biggest deal in women's wrestling at the moment, and that's across all companies and stuff like that. So, you know, as much as we don't really like the fact that she's been constantly shoved down your throat in a kind of Roman Reigns-esque kind of feel, potentially this is a good omen for it. And, you know, it does look like we're probably going to get Rhea versus Charlotte at Extreme Rules, and more than likely in an extreme environment, Rhea's probably got a chance of retaining her title that she lost to her and everything. So I'm all for that. You know, overall, really, really solid match, one of the better ones on the card. Then we move to probably the match of the night, the match that was ultimately given that, like, you know, people were thinking, you know, if there's going to be one match of the night on this card, it was going to be Edge versus Seth Rollins. So these two do not disappoint. You know, despite the fact being in basically two different eras and stuff like that, you know, they are absolutely goated in the wrestling industry and stuff like that. Seth's character has been a bit iffy recently, but I don't mind the Seth character and stuff like that. We know he is due for a push in terms of the world title picture soon. Edge has just been unreal and stuff like that since coming back and stuff like that. People might not like it because obviously he's kind of a part-timer, but the thing is that the part-timer's got some of the biggest reactions of the night, and that really shows something. And Edge isn't really there just like part-time. He does want to appear as much as he possibly can. You know, this is a man who had like a triple fusion on his neck to save his career and save his life and stuff like that, and he still wants to come back and compete and pop the crowd and stuff like that. It is phenomenal. The match was really, really stellar. Both got a brilliant amount of offense in and stuff like that. The ending, you know, could be a bit weird on the way it was done. But, you know, I mean, Edge just gets better and better and stuff like that. I think the thing with it as well is I missed the beginning. I missed his entrance, but I have seen it back. The fact that he came out to the Brood music and stuff like that. Now, the Brood wasn't my era. It really wasn't. I came in the Ruthless Aggression era. But coming out to that with the fire and everything coming out through the floor, my God, I tell you what, if the fans there were about 10 years ago and stuff like that, they would have popped like crazy. As soon as his Alter Bridge music hit and stuff like that, then yes, everyone went ballistic. But I tell you what, that's one of the coolest entrances the WWE has had this year. Simple as that. Phenomenal match. Right guy won, in my opinion, with Edge winning. So fantastic and everything. You know, whether they do this again at Extreme Rules, who knows? I would pay to see that. Potentially do a hardcore match between Edge and Seth Rollins. That could be amazing. But overall, brilliant match. Bobby Lashley versus Goldberg was never going to be a money maker, an award winner and stuff like that. You could tell that the fans were very against Lashley and very for Goldberg in the beginning, and then when Goldberg started to get a bit of offense in, the boos started to come. Now, we knew realistically Goldberg wasn't going to win this match and stuff like that. It was always going to be Bobby. Bobby has been so strong since winning at WrestleMania and stuff like that. And being partnered with MVP is just phenomenal. But yeah, it's one of those ones. I wanted this match to go on longer and stuff like that, thinking they could do more with the characters and stuff like that. But Goldberg is starting to look a very worse for wear now and stuff. And we saw that at the Royal Rumble with his match against Drew McIntyre. That never made sense because they were both meant to be good guys and everything. This one did make sense because he is a good guy against a bad guy in Bobby. But the match, you know, it wasn't a really good way to end the match and stuff like that. It was very poor. Putting his son in, you know, the Hurt Lock and everything, that was kind of iffy. The fact that his son is 15, which, you know, he doesn't look 15, it's incredible. You know, that Goldberg gene is truly in him. But yeah, it's not a pretty way, you know, it's not how a WWE Championship match should be and stuff like that. So I was very let down by this match and stuff like that. It's supposed to set up a rematch and everything, but, you know, it's something that no one really wants. And then we come on to Roman Reigns versus John Cena. Now, I'll tell you what, these are two polarizing characters in the WWE and in the wrestling business as a whole. And I'll tell you what, they went out there and they gave an absolutely phenomenal performance for the two of them and stuff like that. Roman gets better and better and better each and every week. He is the other person alongside Drew that led this company through the pandemic era and stuff like that. And he has just gone on from strength to strength to strength. And Cena coming back and adding to the story of, you know, no one can physically beat Reigns at the moment is perfect and stuff like that. No one expected Cena to win, especially with the stipulation that was put on Friday night where Reigns was said I would leave and stuff like that. So we never knew that he was going to lose. But I tell you what, they went out there and they absolutely tore the house down. They did everything they possibly could do. You know, it was just a fun match to watch and stuff like that. Cena still has it in him and stuff like that. He was never going to go. And yeah, I think overall it was a really, really solid match. One of the better matches of the card and stuff like that. And like I said, keeping the title on Roman at the moment is still really, really important. So we have to see where we go from there. And where we go from there is Brock Lesnar coming back. Now, annoyingly, I ruined this for myself because I was just flicking through my social media and this did come up. He came back to an outrageously good reaction from the fans and stuff like that. And, you know, the look he's got, the beard, the man bun hair, please let him keep it. Don't let him shave it off and stuff like that. Don't make him go proper baby face looking Brock and stuff like that with no facial hair. This is rugged Brock and everything. This is who he truly is. Let him stick with this. And the way it looks at the moment, I mean, bar the fact that I heard after the match and everything, after it all ended, he attacked John Cena, it does look like we're going to have Brock Lesnar be the face in this feud and stuff like that. You know, you got the idea of where does Paul Heyman's loyalties lie? I mean, is he a part of the tribal chiefs, or is he going to go back to Brock and stuff like that? I would personally keep him with Roman because if he switches back to Lesnar and they do a switch and stuff and where one goes face, one goes heel, it's not going to work because people love to boo Roman, and Roman being a heel right now is the best thing for him. Personally, I would like to see how they do a face Lesnar if they do go down that direction. But I tell you what, it was a really good reaction and stuff like that he got, and the fact that, you know, we are now looking at what is going to be a rivalry again between these two and stuff like that, with potentially the tables flipped and stuff like that, could be really interesting. So overall, I would give SummerSlam probably a B rating. There was a lot of good, but there was also a lot of bad on the show and stuff like that. The segment with The Miz and Morrison and Xavier Woods was just one of those ones where they didn't need it and stuff like that. You know, oh, it's in Vegas, oh, it's hot. Yeah, we don't need to see that sort of stuff. That's where it gets too gimmicky and stuff like that. So wasn't a fan of that. Other than that, the show was really, really well done. Like I said, good moments and bad. So we'll have to see what happens going forward and stuff like that. I'm going to leave it there. Tell me if you guys did watch SummerSlam, what were your opinions and stuff like that? Did you think the right people won, the right people lose and stuff like that? If you did get to the end of this video, I would appreciate if you hit the like button and subscribe. And as always, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.